Hey guys, welcome to the Homestead. So what we're going to do today is talk about three simple tips that you can do to make sure, to ensure that your garden is going to be successful in its first year. You see, a lot of people have probably told you that it takes a couple of years before your garden will produce abundantly because you have to build up your soil. There's all kinds of different things you need to add to your soil to make it produce for you. But I'm here to tell you today that you can have a successful garden in just the first year you plant. If you follow these three simple tips, very important tips, you follow these and you're going to have a great garden. You know, one of the first things you can do for your garden to ensure that it's going to be successful is to have your soil tested. And a lot of times, depending on where you live, this can be a free process, a very simple process. Most areas where people live have an extension office, an agricultural extension office where you can go into and they will give you a kit for free most of the time, and you can put some of your soil in that little box that they give you and then take it back to that extension office and they will send it away to have the soil tested for you for free. And then they will send the results to you for free in the mail and letting you know exactly what the pH content of your soil is. I know so many gardeners who forget this one simple step, just to have your soil tested. You know, based on the pH, your plants are going to do well or they're not. You know, to have a really successful garden, you have got to understand what the condition and makeup of your soil is. And so once you get those results, you can take those results that will give you the pH of your soil, and then you can take that to someone who has a lime company or a fertilizer company and get that lime that's needed to sweeten that soil to allow it to uptake the nutrients that's within it, you know, for those plants. So you put that lime on your soil and it does amazing things for your growing potential. So one of the easiest first things you can do is to go to your extension office, find the pH of your soil, have your soil tested. Usually it's for free, and then go ahead and make the proper adjustments to your pH using agricultural lime to put on your garden. Some people use wood ash. You can use, we use wood ash every so often. I'll put a light coating of wood ash on my garden every year. But the first year we started our garden, we had it limed after we had the pH test done. Now, if for some reason you don't have an extension office near you, you can go and find soil testing kits at a lot of different outlets. I think Home Depot and Lowe's probably sells them for the gardeners this time of year, for the gardening in the spring. Walmart may sell them, I don't know. But a lot of any plant stores, nurseries will probably carry them, or you can find them online. But get your soil tested. That way you know what kind of condition you're starting with. Again, that's one of the biggest issues I know first-time gardeners have, is they can't get things to grow. Well, I ask them, did you lime your soil? Did you check what the pH is? And most of the time, the answer is no. Now, a lot of first-time gardeners I know, they have been told that you have to till your soil and break the ground up and do all that sort of thing. And so what they do for their first-year garden, they're busy looking at different types of tillers, at buying a tiller, or asking their friends or neighbors if they can borrow their tiller so that they can turn their soil up. You don't have to do any of that. If you want to jumpstart your garden without tilling your soil, we use what we call here a no-till method. We don't till our soil, ever. And so if you want to have a great garden your first year, find somewhere, usually in your area, it's local, usually it's cheap or free, where they have manure for sale. It can be horse manure, it can be sheep manure, goat manure, it can be rabbit manure. I highly recommend getting rabbit manure if you can. Now, if you put down horse manure or, probably goat manure, what you want to do and keep in mind is the fact that there's grass seed in that manure, and you're going to have to cover it with cardboard, okay, to keep the grass seed. But if you find rabbit manure, you don't need to do that necessarily. You can find rabbit manure. It's a very good manure. It's not going to sprout grass seed within it, and you can put that down, and that will jumpstart your garden in your first year, and you do not need to till your soil. What's going to happen is when you start to put that manure down, it's going to create all kinds of microbiology in that soil, and the soil is going to begin to soften up on its own, and you can plant right in that. Now, the next step we're going to tell you to do is going to help that grow and help that soil soften, but you do not need to buy a tiller. So, really tip number 2 is you don't need to buy a tiller. If you want to have a successful garden your first year, get a good amount of manure, put it down maybe an inch or 2 thick if you can, and I highly recommend the rabbit manure. Put that down in your garden, and that will be a great way to have a successful first year garden, while at the same time getting your garden ready for future results for high productivity in the years ahead. Now, the last tip I'm going to give you is going to bring it all together. What we do in our garden is after we've put down our manures, once we've layered down any type of fertilizers, natural fertilizers that we're going to put on our garden, we top it off with different materials like wheat straw. We also use wood chips. We also use sometimes mulched leaves that have been ground up in like a mower or something. What that does is very, very important. You're putting a layer, a top layer on top of that soil so that when the summer heat of August and July comes out and is basically toasting everything within sight, this top material is keeping that bottom layer of soil all very, very moist. It's not allowing it to dry out at all. It's not drying out the topsoil at all. And so that when you dig underneath of that top layer of wheat straw or wood chips or mulched leaves, what you're going to find is wet soil. You're going to find moist soil that's always going to have water within it to allow your plants to continue to feed on that water and nutrients and grow. I have had it before where it's been 2 months with no rain. 2 months with no rain. And I dig down into that top layer and get underneath of it, and it's still wet soil underneath that top layer because the sun has not dried it out. That is one of your top tips for growing a garden. Putting that top layer on, and so that the sun is not allowed to dry out the dirt beneath it and allows your plants to continue to thrive and grow. But you might say, Zach, where am I going to get wheat straw at? Or where am I going to get wood chips or mulched leaves? I don't even have any trees in my yard. Well, that's where, a little bit of ingenuity and footwork comes in on your part. A lot of times this stuff can be sourced for very cheap or even free. A lot of times in the fall, people will lay out trash bags and trash bags of leaves because they've raked their yard and they're trying to get rid of them. A lot of recycle centers, most communities today have recycle centers where this stuff just piles up. I have a recycle center in my town, and they just have bags and bags upon bags of leaves laying around, and they're just hoping someone will come and take them. And they're very excited when someone like me shows up and throws them in the back of the truck, or we take a big pile of mulch, because they're looking for people to get rid of this stuff for, and I'll be happy to take it. You just have to do a little bit of legwork. Check recycle centers in your area. Check your local electric company. A lot of times they will have a dump site where they're putting wood chips because they're taking down trees that have fallen on power lines, and they're chipping those trees up, and they usually have a dump site where they're putting all of those wood chips. And you can usually go there and get it for free. They just want someone to come and take it away. Or even better yet, you can put your name on a list if you live close enough by, where they'll drop it off at your place, for free, and then you can take it and spread it along your garden however you like. For us, we have a wood handle factory nearby where we get our wood chips. There's a farmer not too far away who grows wheat for some of his cattle, and he just saves the wheat straw, and you can go get it, and I think he asks you for like $10 to load it into your truck or into your trailer. But I mean, again, these places are very easily sourced. You just have to go out and look for it. But you provide that top layer on your garden, and you're gonna really basically ensure good growth for that year. So that's it, homesteaders. 3 simple tips, 3 easy tips to ensure you're gonna have top production for your first year garden. It's really easy to do. Number 1, get your soil tested. Test your pH, understand where your soil's at, and then adjust as necessary. Lime works really good. Agricultural lime or even wood ash will work wonders for bringing the pH up in your garden if you have a high acidic soil. Number 2, source some manure. Rabbit manure is your top choice. Goat manure, sheep manure is great too, even horse manure, but if you use horse manure, you're gonna need to cover it with cardboard or paper, some heavy paper, to make sure the grass seed within it does not spring up and just give you a bunch of weeds. But number 3 is to provide a top layer on your garden. If you provide that top layer, you're gonna ensure the July and August sun does not beat down on your garden and soak up all of the water that your plants are gonna need to thrive and grow. You do those 3 top tips, and you're gonna have a great first year garden. All right, guys, if you enjoyed the video, please check out this list of amazing folks. These are our patrons. They make all of our videos possible. We could not provide the content that we do here on YouTube if it wasn't for them. If for more information, you can go to patreon.com/AnAmericanHomestead. Other than that, like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, check out the videos on the left, and we'll see you next time on An American Homestead.